All right, what's up, everybody? This is Jacob here. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas to all of you. I'm going to be posting this video, I believe, the day after Christmas, so I apologize I missed that one. Um, but yeah, this is going to be a video on how to make your own sort of like NFT gifting Christmas slash holidays site. We're going to be making our own DApp. It's going to be sort of a learning experience just to help you learn how to make your own DApps. That's sort of the point of this channel is to help you with cadence and building your own DApps. But in the end, we'll have a cool sort of result DApp that you'll be able to sort of send to your friends and family and have them mint an NFT for fun to introduce them to blockchain or whatever it may be. We love the blockchain. We want to introduce it to our friends and family. So let's do that together. So with that being said, let's start our DApp journey here. And with the first thing we want to do when we're making a DApp is to have our smart contracts, right? That's the most important part. And so what we're going to be doing is developing these smart contracts on Flow TestNet. That way we can just have some fun, minting them and sending them around. So it's no actual real money. It's just all fake. But I'll show you how to configure for mainnet in the end. So what I've done so far is I've loaded up a Flow playground by going to play.onflow.org, and I've deleted the two contracts that are in account 1 and account 2. So what we're going to want to do in this first part of the video is make the smart contracts for our NFTs that we're going to be gifting and minting to our friends and family. And so we're going to allow anyone to mint those NFTs just because it's all for fun. It's on testnet. And we want our grandma to be able to mint them, so we don't want to make the process too difficult. And yeah, so when we do that, if we want to make an NFT contract on Flow, the first thing we have to do is go to github.com/onflow/flow NFT. And when we go here, the reason we're going here is because if you go to contracts and then click on non-fungible token.cdc, this is the NFT standard for all NFTs on Flow. And so we're going to go ahead and copy all of this code that's in this file. So again, this is the non-fungible token.cdc file. And let's go ahead and copy that into account 1. So for all of you saying, Jacob, you're not teaching us, you're just copy and pasting code. I'm actually just going to lift this window here so I get more lighting in here. But no, so we are copy and pasting code, but this isn't the actual NFT contract. This is the standard. So we don't develop this ourselves. This is developed by the Flow team. So we're going to copy and paste the standard here. And the reason we're doing that is because we want to be able to develop our NFT using the standard. And so in order to do that, we need to have the standard here. All right. So let's go ahead and let's make our own NFT contract now. So we're going to say public contract Christmas NFT, like so. And so, boom, we're going to make our own Christmas NFT sort of smart contract here. We can call it Holidays NFT. So Holidays NFT. That way, we include everybody. All right, so Holidays NFT. Now, what's the first thing that we want in our contract? Well, if we go to the standard, I did a whole video on making NFTs according to the NFT standard. But the first thing we're going to want to do is have all of these base level requirements that the standard wants for us. So we need to copy the total supply, all the events, all the stuff that you would need in order to fit the NFT standards. Let's go ahead and copy these 4 and put them in our contract. And so I'm going to get rid of all the comments just because it seems overwhelming, but it's actually like really simple. It's literally just 4 lines of code. And again, the reason we're doing all this is because when you try to fit the NFT standard, you need to like have the things that it wants you to have, right? And so it wants us to have these things. And it's going to say, hey, you didn't initialize your initial supply, so let's go ahead and initialize that together. So self.total supply equals 0. Boom. All right, cool. So what's the next thing we want in an NFT contract? Well, obviously it's the NFT itself, so we can't have an NFT contract without our lovely NFT. So let's go ahead and make that resource. Now, inside the standard, if we scroll down, we will see that the NFT has one thing inside of it. It has a ID field. So we have to make sure that our NFT has that as well. So let's go and make sure we have a public let ID, which was a UN64. And we have to initialize this, right? So, or else it's going to say, hey, you didn't initialize your ID yet. So let's say that self.id equals holidays NFT.total supply. And then we're just going to simply increment the total supply after we create this ID. So total supply plus 1. So what this is, for those of you that aren't too familiar with Cadence, what this is doing is when we create the NFT, it's going to run this init function. It's going to say the ID field is the total supply. So if there's no NFTs in the supply, the first NFT is going to have an ID of 0, right? Because we usually increment from 0. And then we're going to update our total supply after we create it. Boom. All right, cool. So that is all fine and dandy. Now, the next thing we're going to need is we're going to want a collection, right? Because in any NFT contract, you need a collection to store your NFTs. And that can be shown inside of the standard. If we scroll down, we see this right here. So public resource collection. So we need to make sure we have all of these. And yeah, so let's go ahead and make that together. So we're going to have a public resource collection. And inside of this collection, we're going to have a few things. So we're going to have a public var owned NFTs, right? And any, as we know, any, oh, oops, I cannot type. This is going to be down here. So a uint64, and this is going to map to an NFT resource. And we know that, any NFT collection must have this owned NFTs variable here, and we have to name it this, right? Because if we go to our standard, you'll see that it is named that as well, so owned NFT. So we're pretty much just copying this line right here. But there's a slight trick to this, and that trick is that we're actually implementing a standard here, right? So what we have to do is import non-fungible token from account OX01. And when we go ahead and we actually implement the standard by abiding by this contract interface, it's going to give us a bunch of errors saying, oh, we need to add some resource interfaces and all that. So let's go ahead and actually conform to our standard now. So we have a public resource NFT. And if we go to our standard, you will see that the NFT resource actually, where is it? Right here. The NFT resource actually uses the INFT resource interface. So we have to make sure we use that in this contract as well, where we say non-fungible token.inft. So we make sure that we implement that resource interface, and then this error goes away. And similarly, this collection is going to give us problems, right? Because it's saying, hey, we need to abide by the non-fungible token interfaces. So we got to say non-fungible token, I'm going to copy and paste because that takes a lot of typing, dot provider, non-fungible token dot receiver, and non-fungible token dot collection. We can't even see it because the error is blocking it, but dot collection public, right? All right. And then it's going to say, we don't actually implement any of these interfaces, and we should do that now. And just to go over, the reason why we had to do these was because if we go to our NFT standard and scroll down, you'll see that there's the provider resource interface, there's the receiver resource interface, and there's the collection public resource interface. And our collection implements all three of those. And remember, these types are referring to the types in this contract. So when we go into account 2, we have to say non-fungible token.provider, right? Because it's referring to the one in that contract. All right, so let's go ahead and implement all of these now, because it's giving us a bunch of errors saying it doesn't conform, but we will make it conform now. All right, so let's go ahead and make our withdraw function. So public function withdraw. This is going to take in a withdraw ID, which is going to be a uint64, and we're going to return a resource, non-fungible token.nft. That reminds me, this has to be non-fungible token. And the reason for that is because, remember, we're referring to the type in the previous contract. So if we go to account 1 and we look at owned NFTs, you'll see it's typed to an NFT, but that type is referring to this one in this contract, right? So when we go into account 2, in order to fit the standard, we have to refer to a non-fungible token NFT, right? All right, perfect. So let's go ahead and make these, and let's also get rid of the error on owned NFTs. It says it's not initialized. Let's just say self.owned NFTs, and let's initialize it to an empty dictionary like so. Boom. All right. So it's still giving us errors, but it'll go away in a sec once we're all cool. All right. So here we are. So we're going to withdraw, and in order to withdraw, let's go ahead and actually withdraw an NFT, right? So let's say we can go ahead and return self.owned NFTs.remove at the withdraw ID. And if it's not there, we can just panic and just say, let's go ahead and panic and just say this NFT does not exist, like so. All right, cool. Now, it's going to give us a bunch of errors, but we will come back to this in a bit. But I'm just going to look at this just to make sure I didn't mess anything up. Yeah, okay, so this should be all good to go. Okay, cool. What I'm doing basically is I'm sort of cheating. I'm looking at the example NFT.cdc contract. So if you ever, just for the record, if you ever want to sort of like see an example implementation of an NFT, you can look at example NFT.cdc, and this will help you sort of see how you can implement your own basic NFT. I'm going to bring this to the side just so I can cheat and not show you guys. But yeah, let's just bring it over to the side. Okay, but I did it right. So it's complaining just because we haven't like done this right yet. Okay. Perfect. So then let's go ahead and implement our withdraw functions, public function or deposit. So let's go ahead and implement deposit. And we're going to fix a lot of these methods up, but for now, we're just going to make sure we have the functions first. Okay. So public function deposit, we're going to take in a token, I believe it's called, and this is a non-fungible token.nft. We're not going to return anything. We're just depositing, right? So in order to deposit, what we're first going to do is make sure that we're depositing that this token type is our NFT type. So right now, when it's referring to a non-fungible token at NFT, it's referring to basically any NFT on Flow. That's what we're taking in here. But we want to make sure we're taking in a holidays NFT.nft, right? So our NFT type, because we only want to store our holiday NFTs in this collection. So we're going to say let token. So we're going to make a new variable named token here, and we're just going to move this token into this one and typecast it. So as holidays NFT.nft, and let's typecast it like so. So the reason we're doing this again is because we want to make sure the token we're passing in is actually our type, and if it's not, the as exclamation mark means we're going to panic. So if it's not a holidays NFT, we're just going to abort the program. All right, cool. So now what we're going to do is we're going to say self.owned NFTs, and we're going to force move our token into it at the token. So token.id. And what this means is we're basically going to say, let's take our token right here. Let's get its ID here. So we're gonna store this token in self.owned NFTs at token.id. And what this is basically saying is, if the token has ID 1, we're gonna map 1 to that NFT that has that ID. And this operator right here, this is a force move operator. This is just saying, if a token already exists there, then just panic and abort the program because we don't want to overwrite resources. But this is never going to happen because if you see here, no NFT is ever going to have the same ID because it's being incremented indefinitely, right? So this will never happen anyway. Alrighty. So after we do this, let's go ahead and we have to emit our withdraw and deposit as well. So let's go ahead and emit some events here, and let's just say emit the deposit event, and let's ask ourselves, what does the deposit take in here? Well, deposit takes in an ID and a 2, so we actually have to do this emitting before we move it in, or else we're not going to have the ID of it. So let's go ahead and emit deposit, right? The ID is going to be token.id, and the 2 is going to be self.owner.address. And the reason we put this little question mark here is because it wants a address optional type. And so in order to get an address optional, we just make this an optional by putting our little question mark here. That's just some Cadence stuffs. All right. We also want to make sure that we emit the withdraw here. So actually, instead of just returning this directly, let's just say let token and move it into the token field. And then let's go ahead and emit withdraw, right? And we want to, what is withdraw taken? It takes in an ID and a from. So the ID is going to be token.id. And the from is going to be the same thing, owner.address, like so. And then we're going to return the token. Boom. All right, so that is all cool. We are super awesome. So the next thing, there's two more. I believe there's 2 more things we want to implement. One of them is a borrow NFT. Actually, there's going to be 3 more things. So let's actually first just do get IDs. So just to get all the IDs in this collection. And by the way, so I'm looking at the side of my screen here, but what I'm really looking at is if we scroll down in the NFT standard, you'll see that we already did withdraw, we did deposit, but it's telling us we also need a get IDs and we also need a borrow NFT. So we have to do get IDs and borrow NFT together. So let's go ahead and do that. So public function get IDs. This is just going to return an array of UN64s, which is just an array of all the keys in the owned NFTs dictionary. So this is super easy. We just say return self.ownedNFTs.keys. And that's it. Now we need 2 more functions, one of which is required by the standard. So this was required by the standard. These were all required by the standard. There's one more, which is public function like we saw, borrow NFT. This takes in an ID, which is a UN64. This is going to return a reference to a non-fungible token.nft, and I'm just following what the standard is telling us. So in order to do that, we can pretty simply just return a reference to self.owned NFTs at the ID that we're asking for. And so with any references in Cadence, you have to typecast it. So if we were to do this, you'll see it says expected casting expression. So in order to do that, we have to say as, and then we just specify the type. So if we're returning a reference to a non-fungible token at NFT, that's exactly what we typecast it to right here. Alrighty, so it's still giving us some errors. And okay, so the one error it's giving us here is it's saying public function owned NFTs missing destructor for resource field. Now this error usually means that if you have resources inside of a resource, so in this case, we have resources inside of a resource, that means that we have to add a explicit destroy function. So we have to say destroy. And this is just saying if the collection ever gets destroyed, we want to also destroy self.owned NFTs. And this is because, remember, in Cadence, resources are super typecasted. They're super safe and secure, and so we have to make sure that we are very clear about what we want our resources to do if something were to happen. So if the collection gets destroyed, we really want to make sure that we also destroy our own NFTs. That's basically what it's saying, and we have to handle that, right? All right. So there's a few other things that we need in the standard. Let's go ahead and look at the standard together. I think it's just, I don't think it's that much at all, actually. So we already did our collection, and we just need one more function. So a public function create empty collection that returns a collection resource. So let's go ahead and do that. Public function create empty collection. And this is just going to return a non-fungible token dot collection, like so. And this is going to be easy enough. We're just going to return create collection. Bada bing, bada boom, and bam, we implemented the NFT standard. So this is the most basic NFT contract possible. And if we wanted to do this without being really like without having to do all of this, what we could have done is just go to Flow NFT contracts example NFT and just copy and pasted this contract. Now there's some extra stuff in here like metadata. There's also like an NFT minter, and there's some like stuff down here. What I did on this screen is the literal bare minimum. So this is this is the bare minimum you need to have an NFT contract. Now let's go ahead and make it exciting, so we can make these Christmas NFTs, right? So why don't we go ahead and do public var image and make this a string, and maybe we'll add like an image to this, and then we could also add like a name here. So public var name, and we'll go ahead and make that a string. And then we can even pass in our name. So let's pass in our image, which is a string. And we can also pass in our name, which is also a string, right? And so we'll just initialize both of these two things to say self.image equals image and self.name equals name, right? So that's all we're going to do. We're just going to have a name and we're going to have an image, right? So just really simple stuff. Let's get rid of some of the spacing here. All right. Now, the only thing that we're going to need otherwise is just a public minting function. So usually in your NFT contracts, you wouldn't want to make this public because then anyone could just mint your NFTs. But, because it's the holidays and we're feeling very generous, we're just going to have a public function mint NFT function that allows anyone to mint their own NFT. So let's just go ahead and do that together. So this is going to return create NFT. And we're going to have to pass in a few things. So one is the image, and the other one is going to be the name. So let's go ahead and pass those things in here so that we can initialize our, our NFT state. So let's go ahead and pass in our image and then our name. Boom. All right. Now, actually, the one other thing we're going to need is so this is a little complicated in Cadence, but if you look at this right now, in our collection, we have something called borrow NFT. And this is returning a reference to a non-fungible token NFT, right? And the reason for that is because in our standard, you'll see that borrow NFT returns a reference to NFT, which is referring to this type in this contract, which only has an ID field. So the problem with this is that if we want to read like the name or image of our NFT, this won't work. So because it'll only allow us to read the ID. So what we need to do is say public function borrow entire NFT, and this is going to allow us to read all the information about our NFT in our collection. And this is going to be a reference to just NFT, which refers to the NFT in this contract, which has an ID, image, name. You get it, the whole thing, right? So what we're going to do is say let ref equals, so reference equals a reference to self.owned NFTs at ID as auth non-fungible token.nft. And then I'll explain this in a second. And then we're going to say return ref as a reference to NFT. So what this is doing, what auth means, is auth allows you to downcast. So what is downcasting? Well, downcasting means from going from a generic type to a more specific type. So in this case, we're going to get a reference to our NFT and the owned NFTs dictionary. And we're going to do that by getting a reference to it and then saying it's as, we have to typecast it, or we have to typecast a reference, or a cast expression, whatever it's called, to a reference to a non-fungible token NFT, but we're going to put auth here so that on the next line, we can take ref and downcast it to a reference to NFT. Boom. So that's all we're going to need to do for that. Cool. So I think that's it for this. That is it for this contract. Now let me think about. Okay? Yeah. No. So there actually is one more thing. So when we want to expose this to the public, right? When we want everyone else to be able to read stuff about our collection, right now the ways to do that is to expose non-fungible token.collection public. Now the problem with that is that non-fungible token.collection public doesn't contain borrow entire NFT. So we want to do that. We want to make our own collection public. So let's go ahead into our other contract, into the contract we're making, and make our own public resource interface collection public. And we're going to make our own collection public here. And we're going to, right here, we're going to add a requirement that we also implement our collection public, right? So just, we don't put non-fungible token, we just put collection public here, because it's referring to this type. So we're going to put deposit, right? We want deposit in there, so let's put deposit. Let's go ahead and put get IDs, right? So we're going to put all the initializations of them here. We want borrow NFT as well, like so. And then we also want borrow entire NFT. So let's go ahead and put those in there. And, now it's not giving us any, there's no problem, so we're all good to go. All right. So this is going to be the NFT contract we're going to be using to mint our own NFTs. Now, I have to go pick up my sister from practice, so I'm going to pause the video here and come back later to finish up the video. Alrighty, I am back. And so now that we have finished our contract, let's actually go ahead and deploy it. And let's start making the transactions and scripts that we're going to need in our DApp to actually start minting and reading our NFTs. So in this transaction template, let's call this mint NFT. And we're going to import Holiday NFT from account 2. What's it called? Oh, Holidays NFT. And then we're just going to log down here. Once we're done, we're going to say minted and NFT. Boom. All right, so what we're going to do is usually in your flow application, you would give a user a collection and then you would mint into it in a separate transaction. What we're going to do here is we're going to check to see if the user has a collection ahead of time. And if they don't, we're going to give them the collection and then mint an NFT into their account, just all in one transaction. So it's a super easy click for our grandma and grandpa to be able to mint our NFTs, right? So let's actually go ahead. Let's say if account.borrow holidays NFT.collection from, and then we're going to say, like, let's just name it like /storage/ holiday NFT collection equals nil, which means they don't have this. Then we're just going to say account.save. We're going to save holidays NFT.create empty collection. And we're going to save this to /storage/ holidays NFT collection like so. So that's going to give them the collection that they need if they don't already have it, right? So we're just going to say this gives the signer a collection if they don't already have it. And then we're going to say, so now once we've done this, then we actually have to borrow the collection and then deposit an NFT into it, right? So what we're going to say is let NFT collection equals account.borrow. So we're going to borrow it like so. And we can just put the little exclamation mark at the end. And then we're going to say NFT collection dot deposit. And what we're going to deposit is holidays NFT dot mint NFT. Boom. Okay, so this should be good. Oh, and so we also have to pass in a name and an image, right? Because if we go to our mint NFT function, which is right here, you'll see we need an image and we need a name. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's pass in an image. Let's just name image and a name, which is a name. Now we have to pass these in as transaction arguments, of course, up here. So let's pass in an image, which is a string, and a name, which is also a string. And we should be able to run this transaction. So let's go ahead and mint an image. So this is going to be a hash, so we can just type in a bunch of stuff, but I forgot in the flow playground you have to wrap that in quotes. So this is going to be like a random, oh wait, why is it doing that? So go over 1. Okay, so this is going to be just a random hash, and then name, let's just call it like Jacob or something, right? So let's mint our NFT and see if it works. Minted an NFT, boom. And then if we go to our script, we want to be able to read our NFTs, right? So let's go ahead and do that. Oh, one thing I forgot to do. So if they don't have a collection, okay, we not only want to save the collection, but we want to link the collection to the public so that we can read its IDs. So let's say account.link holidays NFT collection. We're going to restrict it to holidays NFT collection public, right? Like so. And then we're going to link it to /public / holidays NFT collection. And the target is where this is. So here, this is the target. Boom. All right. So this is just going to make sure that, we link it to the public so we can also read from it. So let's do this again with account 2, for example. Let's make the image just a random hash. And the name is going to be Cool Christmas NFT. Let's mint this. All right. And let's go into a script and let's actually read it. So let's import holidays NFT. Oh, oops. NFT from account 2. And let's go ahead and read all the let's go ahead and read the name of a certain ID, right? So let's go ahead, let's pass in an ID. Actually, we're gonna assume that the person only mints 1. So let's just go ahead and we're gonna have no parameters here. So now what we can do is we can say let NFT collection equals account. So we need to pass in an account, which is the account we're gonna read from. Or we're going to read the accounts NFT collection. So we're going to say get account dot get capability /public / holidays NFT collection. So this is what we linked it to over here. We linked it to the public at /public / holidays NFT collection. So that's where we're going to get the capability from. Then we're going to borrow it. So dot borrow. In here we're going to say holidays NFT dot collection. Restricted to holidays NFT collection public. Boom. And then we're going to panic if this collection doesn't exist at this path. So panic, and the message is going to be this NFT collection does not exist. All right. So then once we do that, we're going to read their NFT, and let's just return like I don't know. Let's return its name. Let's return 2 things. So we're going to turn an array of strings. So we're going to say let info be just an empty, it'd be an array of strings, and it's going to be an empty string for now. And then what we're going to do is we're going to return info down here. Okay. And we're going to store 2 things inside of info. So info will contain the name and the image hash. So let's say NFT collection. Or let's just say let the NFT ref equals NFT collection dot borrow entire NFT at 0. All right. And once we borrow the NFT, we're going to say info dot append NFT ref dot image, and then info dot append NFT ref dot name. All right. And so then when we return it, it's going to return both the name and the image inside of an array. So let's go ahead and do account 02, which is the one that we minted the NFT for. And if we execute this, it'll say dereference failed. Okay, so why is it saying dereference failed? So I ended up figuring out the error here. The issue was that I was trying to read an ID with 0 in account 2, but I actually messed up the example because remember we had previously minted an NFT into account 1. So the NFT that account 2 owns actually has an ID of 1. So if we try this again with account 2 and we execute it, let me clear this, and we execute it, you'll see it'll actually come up with our values now. So it'll print the, the hash, and it'll print the name here, a Cool Christmas NFT. So you probably can't see that because of my image, but it says Cool Christmas NFT here. So what we're going to have to do is, in order to fix that, let's instead, so that we don't have to pass in an ID every time, let's actually go ahead and just say NFT collection dot get IDs at 0. Or can we even do that? Yeah, so what we can do is this will always get the first NFT that they own. So if we go to try account 2 again and run this, it'll print the NFT that we want. So again, what this is doing is this is always just getting the first NFT that they own. And we're just going to assume in our DApp that like they're only going to ever mint 1 NFT because it's just for fun. There's no reason to mint a bunch. But of course, if you wanted to like allow them to mint multiple, you could. and then you could just return, you could have a script that, goes through and you could pass in the ID of the NFT here. And you could just pass that through right here, and just so that you could read the specific NFT. But for our example, we're only gonna ever assume they own one, so we're just gonna do it this way. All right, cool. So now we've done our transaction and script that we're gonna need to want to read our things. So in the next part of the video, we're going to go over how to actually tie this to a DApp and get a DApp running, a super simple DApp running to start minting our NFTs and stuff. So in order to do that, let's actually open up our Windows PowerShell. Oh, and before we do this, so a couple prerequisites here. Go to onflow.org, go to For Builders, Documentation, and then on the left-hand side here, click on Flow CLI, and then these steps, and make sure that you install the Flow CLI for whichever system you have. So if you have Mac OS, I would recommend doing it this one. Don't do Homebrew, it's much slower. Just do the pre-built library one. Linux, you just copy and paste this. Windows, copy and paste this. What you'll do is, here's an example. So I'm on Windows. I would take this line, copy it, go to my Windows PowerShell, and just paste it here. I've already done this, so I'm not going to need to do this again. But if you've done it successfully, then when you type flow version into your terminal, it'll come up with this, right? So a version number and a commit. So that means that you've done it correctly. So yay. And another thing is make sure you have Node installed. So look up Node install, and just you'll click on download and then go to Node.js, and make sure you install this for your system as well. And once you do that, if you type into your terminal Node and then -v, it'll come up with a version. So that means that you've done it correctly. But all that being said, what we're going to do is we're actually going to make, we're going to use React to actually make our simple DApp. So in order to do that, let's do npx and then create React app. So you have to type it in like that. Now let's give a name. So let's just do like Holidays NFT DApp. Boom. And what it's going to do is it's going to take some time to make our DApp. And yeah, so it'll do some cool stuff. All right. And this might take a second. So why don't, while it's doing that, let's actually go to the Flow view source. So what is the Flow view source? Well, it's a really easy way for us to deploy our contracts onto a testnet. So actually, in order to do that, I'm going to go to my separate Gmail account because I don't like to leak my other stuff. .com, I think it is. No, so testnet account. Let me actually go back for a second. So let me X this out for a second. So what is it? Flow users like that. All right, so let me just copy and paste all of this really quick. Okay, so let's go back to this thing. So what this is you're going to want to go to flow-view-source.com/testnet/account and then put in 0x1 so that it allows you to go into the site. For some reason, it's super buggy. So yeah, so you're going to need to like type in a default account. But once you get here, we're going to use this site to actually deploy our smart contract. So click on Authenticate. It's going to come up with this prompt here. Click on Blockdo, and then you're going to want to type in any email. So if you've never used Blockdo before, that's totally fine. You just type in your email, and if you have used Blockdo before, you also just type in your email. It's the same thing. So I always use this email for my YouTube videos because I don't like to leak my other stuff. So coolkid13070@gmail.com, like so. I'm going to click sign in. And it's going to send you an email. So let me go to my email with CoolKid. So there's nothing here. You can, I'm pretty sure it's all just Blockdo emails, right? Yeah. So it's all just Blockdo. So 790886. 790886. And when you do that, it's going to say, okay, you have logged in, hopefully, right? Preparing your Flow account. And it's going to come up with, I don't know why, it usually never takes this long. Okay. So it's going to come up with your email and then your address, right? So here is our address. So let's click confirm. And it's gonna it's gonna show something at the bottom left here. So click on the bottom left, and it'll take you to your page, which is awesome, right? So once you go to your page, you're not gonna see any contracts here. This is just from previous videos. One thing you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to mint Flow into your account in order to deploy the contract, because you know there's storage costs and stuff like that. They're very minimal, but you need to take that into consideration. So what you can do is actually go to Google and type up Flow, like on Flow testnet faucet or something like that. I just type in yep, and then you'll see Flow testnet faucet create account. So click on that, and at the top right, click on fund account. And what you're gonna do is go back to your view source, copy and paste your address, go back and paste in your address, and click on testnet Flow. Click I am a human. Let's hope that we're a human. So click on all the boats, I guess. I don't know. Are these boats? Is that a boat or is that an airplane? I have no idea. But Verify. Okay, did it. And then click on fund your account. And when you click on fund your account, it's gonna do some stuff for a second, and you'll notice it'll give you 1,000 flow in your account. So I already have some flow in here just because. But when you do this, it should say, we're funding your account. Let me take a moment. Right now I have 1,700. When this finishes, I should have 2,700. It might not do it because I already have some, but it should give you, yeah. So it'll give you 1,000 in your account. Okay, there it is. So 2,700 in my account. So boom, we've done it. All right, so let's go back to our contract. Let's go to our contract, our Holidays NFT. Let's copy and paste the whole thing and go back to our, view source. Click on new contract and paste in your contract. Now, there's one thing to note here, and that is the address at the top. So obviously on TestNet, non-fungible token doesn't have an address of 0x01. We have to get rid of that and go to onflow.org. Go to for builders, go to documentation, and look up core contracts, and click on this link. And then on the left-hand side, click on non-fungible token, and it'll tell you what the testnet address is for non-fungible token. So right here, if we copy and paste this testnet address and go back to our view source and copy that in, that'll be the correct address for non-fungible token. So we can click on deploy contract. It'll do some pending, blah, 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 while it's pending, and then it'll come up with this prompt here. And, you can see the transaction if you want to, clicking on the down arrow, and just click on approve. And what this will do is if everything goes right, it should deploy this contract to testnet. And it's as easy as that. So it literally, there's just a site that you can deploy, no complicated stuff. We don't have to create accounts. Blocked does all that for us. There are ways to do that if we wanted to. I've done videos on that, but this is all by Blockdo. And you'll see on the left-hand side, boom, it comes up with Holidays NFT. We've done it. Yay, yay, yay. So we've deployed our contract to testnet. Awesome. So let's go back to our terminal. It says happy hacking. I will happy hack. Thank you. And let's clear our terminal so it makes more sense. And let's CD into Holidays NFT DApp. And let's open this in VS Code. So hopefully this works. And yes, it does. All right, so let me make this a different theme here because I want everyone to be able to see it. All right, so this should be good enough, right? So here's a sample React app. And this allows us, basically, this just gives us a front end we can use to sort of interact with stuff. But right now it's a base template. So if we right now type npm start, it'll do some cool stuff, and it's going to launch, hopefully, in our web page. Let's allow access, I guess. Yeah, allow hack me. And then let's go, that sounded weird. And then let's go to localhost 3000. It'll launch it for you. And boom, right? So we have a front end running now, which is super cool. So if we go back into our app, let's just do some default stuff. Let's get rid of the logo, right? This always happens. Let's delete the logo from our project. Let's delete it. All right. And let's get rid of the stuff in here, and let's just save. And if we go back to our, website here, why are there two different things? Okay, so let's actually delete this. Okay. So if we go back to our web page here and we go to localhost, you'll see that if we refresh, there's nothing here now, right? But if I type in, if I make an h1 tag and type in hello, yay, right? And then save it, and it'll hot load, and then it loads hello, yay, right? Okay, so that's easy enough. So what we want to do is we actually want to, make some buttons so that we can upload our, so that we can mint an NFT, display our NFT, all that kind of stuff, right? So, all right. So in order to do that, let's go into, let's cancel this out. I'm just going to do that by doing Control-C, clear this again, and we're going to want to npm install a few things. So @onflow/fcl, @onflow/types, and IPFS HTTP client. And we're going to run this. So what this is going to allow us to do is OnFlow FCL is going to allow us to interact with the Flow blockchain. OnFlow types is going to allow us to do some stuff when we run transactions and scripts. And IPFS HTTP client is going to allow us to store our images on IPFS so that we can get an IPFS hash, store that in the contract like we mentioned, and then it will, we can get that hash back and then, display the image on the web page. So I'm going to pause the video here for a second. While this does this, I'm going to come back with some of notes so that I can, I can lead this along very quickly. So I'll see you in a bit. All right, and we are back. So the dependencies are installed, and I just want to say one quick thing. I actually had some issues installing the dependencies for some reason because of some Windows bug. And Orby in the Flow Discord helped me out. So Orby, if you're seeing this, thank you very much for your help. The Flow community is amazing. All right, so the dependencies are installed, and let's actually go ahead and configure our DApp to point to testnet now. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually import all as FCL from @onflow/FCL, like so. And then we're going to import all as types from @onflow/types. All right, cool. So this is just going to import FCL, which allows us to talk to testnet, and types, which will help us in a bit. So I'll mention that when the time comes. So to actually tell our DApp to point to testnet, let's do fcl.config. And we're going to do something called .put, which basically allows us to configure. We'll go over each one as we do it, right? So I hate when YouTubers copy and paste code, so I'm just going to start typing in URLs here. Okay. So the first one is going to be, I hope I don't make any typos, but access node.api, comma, and then the link is going to be HTTPS, oops, I'm making a ton of typos already, access testnet.onflow.org. And what this is going to do is tell our DApp to look at testnet, right? So when we run scripts and transactions, our DApp's going to know that we're doing it on testnet. And this next line is going to tell us which wallet we want to use. So I will show you that in a bit when we actually log in. So HTTPS FCL discovery .onflow.org/testnet/authn. All right, so what this is going to do is allow our wallet to be set up so that when we log in, it knows where to look. All right, so let's go ahead and add a login button, right? That's the first cool thing we can do with our app. We can make a little login button. We're going to add an on-click handler saying when this button is clicked, we're going to do this thing. And we're going to call a login function. So let's go ahead up here and do const login. I'm going to use ES6 syntax, which is arrow functions, which is, const, the name of the function, equals the parameters, arrow, and then the actual function. And the only thing we're going to do here is fcl.authenticate, like so. So what this is going to do is when we click this button, right, so let's name it like login. When we click this button, we're going to want to call this function right here. So let's go to our web page. I also npm started again. So type what you can do is, I'll just do it again with you guys. So let's do npm start, and it's going to load up. So it'll load up to what looks like this. And you'll see there's hello, yay, and then our login button. So let's go ahead. npm started, so it's reloading right now. But let's wait for it to sort of do its thing. And if we click in login, then you'll see it comes up with this wallet. And that's exactly what this is doing, right? So the discovery wallet here. And if we click Blockdo, it'll come up with cool kid, hopefully. Yep. And if we confirm, then we're logged in now, right? So that's all cool. All right. So what we're also going to add is we're going to add a user. We're going to store the user that we logged in as in our sort of DApp here. So what we're going to do is we're going to use, we're actually going to import this from React. So import, what is it? Use state and use effect from React. And this allows us to actually store some state. So we can do const user, and then the setter for that's going to be set user equals use state, like so. Like that. Okay. And so what we can do is when we log in, we're going to add a use effect handler. So use effect. And what this is going to do is every time the page refreshes, it's going to set our user variable to be the user that we're currently logged in as through FCL. And we can do that by saying fcl.currentUser, like that, .subscribe, and then we can pass in this set user that we defined up here, and that will set our user to actually log us in. All right. And then what we can do is we can actually add instead of saying hello yay, why don't we instead just log the user's address? So we can say if user and user.address, which means if the user is not nil and the user.address is not nil, then let's just display, or actually I should get rid of these containing h1 tags. Then we can display the user.address here, like so. Otherwise, we're just going to display nothing, so just null. Okay, and let's see if this actually works out for us. So if we refresh the page, for some reason it's taking a while to load. I don't know if I did something wrong. I must have done something wrong here. So I forgot to add that we want this only to run one time when the page is refreshed like that. So hopefully this will allow it to run. Is it What's it doing? This is weird. So for some reason, it's just like indefinitely loading. I don't know why it's doing that. Let's try and re-npm start it. I must have made some sort of mistake in here. But this should be good to go. This use effect and the logging in as well. So let's see if. All right. So right now the user's not logged in, so it's displaying nothing. But if we click in login and click in blockdo, and click in confirm, then boom. Okay, so there we go. So it displays our address once we're logged in. So yay, we did it. Okay, we're logged in. So that is logging in, and we can actually, let's just add some like cool CSS. So I'm going to get rid of everything in here just because this is like the styling part, right? And so we actually want to like display this. So, you know, our containing thing is class name app. So let's just say .app. You know, these are the best lines in CSS ever. We display flex, justify content center, and align item center. Those are my favorite 3 lines of code in all of existence because it allows you to do something like this. And then you can even say like flex direction, what is it, column, I think, right? And that allows you to like that. Oh, that's weird. Okay, yeah, there we go. Cool. And so what we can also say is, let's just say like the width is like 100 VW and the height is 100 VH. And that allows us to take up the whole screen. So now it puts it right in the middle. Boom. All right, so that's logging in. And then what we can also say is like, for any button, let's just say like the width of it is 100 or I don't know, 200 pixels. The height's going to be 200 pixels. Let's say the background color is light red, or I don't know, let's like some cool Christmas color. The color is going to be like light green. I don't know. I'm just trying to like make some cool Christmas stuff. Okay, that's way too big. So let's do like the width is like I don't know, like 100, and the height's like 50 pixels. We'll say border none, and we'll say outline none as well, and let's see what happens. So boom, there's our cool little Christmassy button that says login. And so if we wanted to, we can click login. You know, we already logged in, so it's just gonna say like that, right? But let's also add ourselves a log out button. So let's copy and paste our login button. Let's make a log out. So log out. And let's copy and paste our login function, make it log out. And what we can do is do fcl dot unauthenticate, and that will log us out. And we can change this to say log out. So let's see what happens here, right? So log in, if we click log out, let's see what happens in our inspect element. So if we click log, for some reason it doesn't like when we click log out. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we click log out. Then when we click log in again, blockdo, you know, confirm. Now we're logged back in. We can log back out again. You know, it's super simple, right? So, all right. So now we have a simple login, log out mechanism, which is really great. Okay, perfect. All right. So what we want to do next is we want to actually be able to mint our own NFT. So let's go ahead and do that, right? So there's a lot sort of involved here when we want to. So I'm thinking in my head what I want to tackle next. Okay. So what I want to tackle next is actually minting the NFT. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that together. So let's make a minting function. So mint NFT, let's just say mint, right? Equals async, and I'll explain why it's async in a second. Boom, like that. So what we're going to do is we are going to first, okay, so we want our NFT to have an image and a name. So in order to do that, let's just add like a div block down here so that we can start testing some stuff. And we want to be able to upload a file, which is an image. And we also want to be able to upload a name, right? So this is like for our NFT, okay? For now, let's keep our name hard coded, so we're not going to allow the user to type in, but let's just say like an image, right? So in order to do that, we need to add an input field. So let's add an input here. And the input's going to be a type equals a file, like so. And when we do on change, this means like when we actually like upload the file, we're gonna store our file somewhere. So let's go ahead and do that. So set file to e.target, and I'll fix this in a second. e.target.files at 0. Okay. So what is it? So you might be asking, Jacob, what the heck is this? Well, what we want to do is we want to have an input field, and we're going to upload a file. It's going to take that file and it's going to set some sort of file to whatever we uploaded. But we actually have to store that somewhere. So let's go ahead up here and say const file, set file, equals use state, like that, okay? And so what this is going to do is, you know, set file right here. So that's why we're calling set file down here, because it's going to actually set the file to that, right? Okay, cool. So that's going to store it somewhere. Now if we go back to our page, you'll see it allows us to like upload a file here. So let's go ahead and look up like Christmas image. I don't know. I'm just gonna look up some random Christmas image so we can store it as our NFT. Okay, this is all cool. I really like this image. So I hope I don't get struck with copyright. But let's save image as I don't know. You can see all my look what I've downloaded here. Rubik's Cube stuff, right? So whatever. You can. This is my personal life, but what am I downloading anyway? Spider-Man wallpaper, great. So Christmas NFT image. Boom, saved in our downloads. Okay. So we've done that. Cool. Okay, so now when we go to Mint, we want to store this image on IPFS. Now, how the heck do we do that? That's sort of getting into the weeds, right? Well, what we can do is import. Remember, we installed IPFS HTTP client. We can import that here. So let's go ahead and import. We're going to import specifically create from IPFS HTTP client. Boom. Now we want to actually configure the IPFS to, so what is IPFS first of all? Well, IPFS is a decentralized storage system where you upload something like some sort of content and it basically creates a hash for it, returns the hash to you, and stores your file or content somewhere on the decentralized storage, right? So it basically is storing it for you and just gives you an easy way to access it at any point in time. All right. So we can then say const client. So we're going to configure, okay, so what am I doing? Okay, so const client equals create. So that's what we imported from IPFS, and we're gonna point this to HTTPS IPFS.infura .io 5001/API/v0. Now, hopefully, if I did everything right, this will work when we test it out. All right, so this is basically pointing our IPFS to look at some node or something. I don't even know. This is complicated for me too. All right, so when we actually call the minting function, we're going to want to take the file that we stored and we're going to want to pass it into our transaction code. So what we're going to do is we're going to say const added equals await client.add our file. So our file is stored up here, right? So right here, and we're going to basically add that to client, which is the IPFS thingy. Then after that, we're going to say const hash equals added dot path. So that's going to give us the path, and we're going to pass in the hash to our transaction. All right. Sweet. So this then gets us into our transaction. Okay. Well, first of all, before we even do, let's just test this is working. So let's console.log hash, right? So let's just test these to be working, and let's add a button to mint. So inside of our div block down here, let's add a button. So add a button to mint. So mint Holiday NFT, and when we do on click, we're going to call the minting function like so. Cool. And why don't we also wrap these two in a div block so that we're like sort of containerizing our stuff. So log in, log out should both be in a div block as well, right? So I'm not the best front end coder, you can probably tell, but hey, you're stuck with me. So LOL. Okay, so here we are. Now let's go ahead and click choose file. Oh, let's refresh the page first. So let's click choose file. Let's go to downloads and let's click on Christmas NFT image. All right, and then let's click mint holiday NFT. So boom, oh my God, I'm so happy this just worked. So it printed our hash. So this, remember at the beginning of the video when I said a hash was just a bunch of like random stuff? Well, this hash is just, look, it's QMX. We don't even know what this is, but it's going to allow us to access our content at a later point in time, right? So yay, boom. And some cool thing, by the way, I'm actually looking at my notes over here on the left-hand side, but there's a cool thing where we can actually view our IPFS image somehow. So in order to actually view this, what we can do is go to https //ipfs.infura.io/IPFS / and then we can take our sort of hash here, copy and paste it, and boom, it shows us our image. So this is proof that we're actually on IPFS, right? Our image is here. So yay, 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 that's awesome. Okay, we've done it. All right. So let's go back to our thing here, and what we want to do now is take our transaction code, right? And we want to basically put it inside our application. So let's make a new folder inside of here. So new folder, and we're going to call this cadence. And inside of here, we're going to just call this code.js. This is going to be our cadence code. Now what we can do is we can export. We're gonna basically. Okay, so just to back up a little bit, when we okay, to back up even more, I was getting a little bit ahead of myself. Before we actually copy in our transaction and script code, we need to set up this transaction on the JavaScript end. So let's go ahead and do that together. So what we can do is say const transaction ID equals await. And remember, so the reason we put async here is because we need to await. So this is asynchronous calls. FCL.send, like so. FCL.transaction. So we're going to pass in some sort of transaction code here, which is what I'll get into. FCL.args. Okay, so FCL.args. And then here we pass in our arguments to our transactions. So if we look back at our, I think I actually lost the transaction code because I was doing something, I was being an idiot. Let's go back to here. And, okay, I am totally saved because my Google Chrome saved it for us. So let's go ahead and look at this code, right? So remember when we were doing the code for our Holidays NFT, we had a mint NFT function. So let's go ahead and copy our mint NFT transaction code here. Go back to our app, and we can actually copy and paste that into our code here. So export const mint NFT transaction equals backticks. I think it's like this. Yep. Go up here and copy and paste our code. So here's our transaction, right? So we have an image and a name here. So we have to make sure we add those arguments, right? So fcl.arg, we're going to make our image our hash. So we're going to pass in hash, and the type is types.string. So the reason we imported types up here is because we need it for our transaction arguments. So types.string. Remember, again, that's because our hash is our image is a string. And then our name, let's just hard code name for this video. So we're going to say name is going to be Holiday NFT. Okay? And the type is going to be t.string as well. So there are our arguments. Then we need to have a couple other things. So I'm going to add these here. So the other things are fcl.payer. And you can simply put fcl.auths in here. Then there's going to be fcl.proposer. And we're going to put fcl.auths as well. Then fcl.authorizations is going to be an array of fcl.auths, like so. And then we can put like fcl.limit, I don't know, just put like 999 or something. So it doesn't matter because this is all in testnet anyway. Okay, so we have done it. Okay, so let me go back and make sure that this is all correct. And it looks like we have done a fantastic job because I'm the best ever. And then we can say then fcl.decode like so. So this is our transaction on the JavaScript end. So we are going to send this transaction with these arguments. There's some other stuff here. In Cadence, you don't have to get into this, but like, you know, there's in transactions, there's a payer, proposer, authorizations, whatever. This is all just coming from our block.wallet wallet sign in. So all is good, right? And so then what we can do is we can actually console.log the hash and console.log the transaction ID, like so. Okay, boom. So this is what we have. Okay, so now we have, okay, so now the reason that I put the transaction code into a separate file is because in this transaction here, for some reason with FCL, you can't have like a .cdc file, which is a Cadence file. You need to wrap everything in backticks like so, and you know, and then have it in a separate file, and then you can export const like this, and then in your app we can say import mint NFT transaction from and then we can just say like /cadence, or what is it? No, it's /cadence / code.js, and it'll bring that code over here, and then we can pass in that code right here. So mint NFT transaction like so, and now it's being used. Perfect. Alrighty, so we should be able to run a transaction now if we did everything right. Now, here's one other thing we actually forgot. So Holidays NFT, remember, because we're on testnet, it's no longer 0x02 like it was on the playground. It's what it is on the view source, or what, you know. Remember, we deployed our code to the account that we're sort of using right now, so which is this address. So we can actually go ahead and copy and paste this address. Oh my God, if I was able to. How do I get to that? That's so tilting. But we can actually, if we want to, we can just go back to the view source and go back here. Remember, so Holidays NFT, where do we deploy it? Well, we deployed it to our account, which we logged in through on Blockdo. So let's just do that. And we can copy and paste our address in the bottom left. Okay, perfect. And copy that here, right? So this is wherever the contract is deployed, which is this address. So if we run this transaction, we should be able to mint ourselves an NFT. I hope. So let's try it together. So choose file. What do we do? Wrong. Okay, we have to we have to make sure our imports are before any other code. So import up here, and then we can configure a client like so. Okay, so boom. T is not defined. Where is that being used on line 39? Oh, this is types. That's my bad. So this is supposed to be types, not strings. So thank you, errors. We love errors because they're being very kind to us today. Okay, so let's choose a file. Let's choose our Christmas NFT image, and let's mint holiday NFT, and let's see what happens. So I'm clicking on mint. Oh, okay. So boom, it's working. Yay! So when we click on script here, if it comes down, and look at what happens. So you can see our transaction here, but you can also see the arguments to the transaction. One of which is the hash of the image, and the other one is the name, right? So holiday NFT. So if we click approve, let's see what happens. It's going to go through, okay? And look what it prints down here. So it prints the hash of the image, which we did right here, so console.log. And then the second one is the transaction ID, right? So the transaction ID right here, okay? So if we go back to our web page and we copy and paste this, we can go to something called the view source. No, oh my God, what's it called? TestNet. Flowscan.org. So if we go to testnet.flowscan.org and we copy and paste the transaction ID, we can click explore, and boom, execution success. So we see that the transaction went through, and we probably have an NFT now, which is awesome, right? Cool. So let's go ahead and figure out a way to actually view our NFT now. So let's make another function called view NFT, and this is going to be another arrow function. Boom. And this is going to be a script, so it's a little different, and we're going to have to figure out how to do that together. So what we're going to want to do is say const result equals await fcl.send. So just like it was in the transaction case, but this time we're going to say fcl.script, and then we're going to have to pass in our script code. Then we're going to say fcl.args. And let's check. Did we have any arguments in our script? Yes, we had an account, so we did have one argument. Let's go back. So fcl.args, and we're going to say fcl.arg. This is going to be for our account that's logged in. So we can say user.address, right? Because we stored the user up here. And this is going to be a type of types.address, like so. All right, and then we can say dot then fcl.decode or fcl.decode. Boom. And then we can console dot. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. So not here. This should go after right here. Then we can console.log the result. All right, so let's go ahead and get our script code. So if we go back here and get our script code, let's copy and paste this, bring it into code.js, and we can down here to say export const view NFT script equals the backticks. Paste it, and we've changed our address again, so let's make sure to change our address, and boom, this should be good to go. So we can import this up here and say view NFT script, pass that in down here, view NFT script, and should we try it out? I think we should, but let's go ahead and add a new button to view it, right? So view our holiday NFT, it's going to be view NFT. All right, well, actually, let's just name this view, right? Why not? Let's just name it view. Okay. So let's open our thingy again, refresh the page, and we get a bunch of errors. All right, so I love errors. And it's because we probably didn't put async here. That's probably the reason. All right, so let's go ahead and view our holiday NFT. And look what it did. Yay! So it logged our image hash and our holiday NFT from the blockchain. So that's awesome, all right? So it logged it. Now we can make things, I guess, a little cooler, right? Because this is a little like, it's a little bit of a bummer. That's not like the best thing in the world. So maybe we want to actually like view our NFT on the web page. So when we click on view, what can we do if we want to actually display it? Well, we can set our image to, I guess, this hash right here. So let's go ahead and say, I don't know, right? So let's make another div block to we actually like display our NFT down here. One of which is going to be an image. So this image is going to have a source, right? And this source is going to be, let me actually make sure I'm doing this right because I don't want to mess this up. Hold on 1 second. So we're going to say, oh, oops. So image source equals, okay, so image source equals, just like we did before, so HTTPS infura dot, oh no, IPFS dot infura dot io slash IPFS, I believe, and then slash the hash that we got from up here. So let's go ahead and make, we could just make 2 new variables here. So let's do like just 2 new variables. Let's just say like the script hash, and this is going to be the script name. So set, actually, you know what we could do? No, let's go ahead and say just like script result. There, so that's just 1. And this is going to start out as an empty array. And then we can say set script result. And we're going to set our script result to that. So let's go ahead, instead of console logging it, let's set script result to the result that we got here, like so. All right. And so what we can say is inside of this div block, we can say if the script result dot length does not equal 0, because up here we initialize it to 0, so this means there's nothing in it. So if it's not equal to 0, that means we have something cool to show. So we can say if it's not equal to 0, then we want to display an image. And the image is going to be, let's do backticks here, because we're going to add a little cool variable inside of here. And this variable is going to be the script result at 0. So that's the hash that we get back from our array. Remember, if we go back here, oh, it's not showing it anymore, but I will show you. And then otherwise, so if it's not equal to, then we're just going to do null. So then nothing inside of here. All right, and so clearly I did something wrong. What did I do? I think I maybe added an extra thingy here. Oh, and this is supposed to be like this, right? Okay. Or did I do that wrong? What did I do? Oh, this, okay, that's why, because it's not supposed to be image. This is supposed to be image, so it's a little image tag. And it's still wrong, so what did I do? Oh, because this is supposed to have a little thing here, I believe. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and, okay, so this, for some reason, breaks a lot of stuff. Okay. So let's choose our file. Oh, no, we're not choosing our file, because we already made it, right? So let's view our Holiday NFT, and it worked! Yay! So, okay, so why did this work? Because I know I just went really fast, but why did this work? Well, we ran the script. We set the script result to result, right? So that's all cool. And then remember the result. So if we actually, let's go ahead and console.log this again so we can all see this together. So result. Let's go ahead and console log it. So when we refresh the page and we click view Holiday NFT, look, so the result is an array. The first one's the hash and the second one's the name. So the hash is the first one, right? So that's why we say script result at 0. And we plug it into this link and it displays the image, which is awesome. So that's all cool and fine and dandy, right? So I'm actually going to rearrange things a little bit. So instead of making that the div, I'm just going to say that in here, I want the div block. I'm going to wrap this like that. And the reason I'm doing that is so that we can also put like our name in here. So let's just make a little H2 field, I guess. I don't know, just super random. And we're going to say script result at 1, which is where the name is. So that's going to be cool. Okay, and then what's wrong here? Okay, so like that. All right, let's go back. Refresh the page. Let's make this image a little smaller. So let's go into our CSS and just say for images, we want this to be a little smaller. So the width is like, I don't know, like 200 pixels, and the height's going to be like 200 pixels, like that. So let's click View Holiday NFT. I refresh the page, View Holiday NFT, and there we go. So it displays our NFT and then our Holiday NFT right here. And that's pretty much it, right? So now anyone that logs in can get their own NFT, which is super cool. So they can mint the NFT, and then once they have it, they can display it, right? So that's all awesome. All right. Now, keep in mind that if someone were to run this script, oh, where is it? So if someone were to run this script and they didn't have the any NFTs in their collection, then it would probably be like an issue because it would say like it doesn't exist. So, you would always want someone to sort of mint before viewing. And I guess we could even maybe set up like a check to see if they don't have any NFTs in their collection. Um, but actually, I'm not going to do that in this video because that's just sort of getting into the weeds. But this is sort of a simple example of how you can send this. Like you could send this. You could have this DApp, send it to your relatives, have them log in, right? So they would open up this web page, and obviously it looks like trash, right? So I'm sorry. But if you wanted to, you could sort of play around with code. But if you wanted to, they could click login, right? They don't even need to have a Blockdo account. So I'll sort of walk through what that would look like, right? So I'm gonna type in another email of mine. So I don't know. I do this in other videos, like the Lord Snake. So I made this when I was like 2 years old. So that's gmail.com. Let's click sign in. So they would type in their email, right? I'm gonna go to my email right now. I'm currently looking at my email, which is why it's taking a second. Hopefully it'll load in soon. Okay, so it loaded in. So then they would go to their email. They would type in their thingy, which is 204267. We're gonna log in, confirm. Look, it shows my address now. Now what we can do is choose a file. So let's say I'm grandma and I want to mint it with this image. Then mint Holiday NFT. Approve. And then view. And it's broken. No, it's because it's not yet done. That's why. Because remember, if we go to our little thingy here and go to the flow scan and copy and paste it in, it's because it's not yet done. Well, now it's done. So if we were to refresh the page and try it again, it would be there. So boom, there it is. So now grandma has NFT. All right, so that sort of concludes like the actual DApp part of it. Now the last part of this video, I'm going to say how to actually like put this out there for people to use. So in order to do that, we're actually going to use something called Netlify, which is a tool that lets us deploy our projects to like a service, which is like really awesome and for free. So Netlify, if we look this up, and I'm not sponsored, although I wish I was. So we're going to click on Netlify, and what we can do is actually upload our projects to Netlify, and it'll deploy it for us, and we can send a link to our friends and family to mint their own NFTs. So when we click on add, when we come to this page, you're probably have to log in, make an account, whatever, but you'll end up at this page. And what we can do is click on add a new site and import an existing project. So we're going to put our product on GitHub because you can also use this project as like a, I don't know if you want to put it on your resume or something, I don't know. But like if you want to like have this sort of project for yourself, even, we're going to put this on GitHub. So in order to do that, let's actually go to my GitHub. Why not? So let's go to my GitHub here. So let's look up github.com. It's going to load up my GitHub. My internet's been really slow recently, but what we can do is go to your GitHub and then click on new repository, and this will take us to a new repository page where we can upload our project to GitHub, and then we'll tie it to Netlify, which will be pretty cool. So come on GitHub, come on internet, stop being so slow. All right, so let's make a repository name Holidays NFT. I'm gonna make this public, create repository, and it's going to create the repository for us. And then once it does this, it's going to give us a bunch of instructions we can actually use to put our product on GitHub. So the first thing we're going to do, I already know these steps, so we're going to type in git init, and then we're going to type in git add all. Okay, and then the next part we can do is we can git commit. So let's go ahead and do that. So git commit. Let's add a message called, say, like Jacob's the best, right? So obviously. And then we can change our branch to main, right? So it's not master. And then get remote add. So this next step, you can just sort of copy and paste these lines if you want to. And then we're going to git push origin main. So let's go ahead and do that as well. So when we do this, it should push to GitHub. And if we refresh this GitHub page now, you'll see that our project is actually in this repository, which is super cool. And here it is. So here is our project, right? Which is awesome. So what we can do now is go to Netlify and tie this project to Netlify, and it'll automatically deploy it for us, which is like, I love Netlify so much if you can't tell already. So if we click on GitHub down here, it's going to load up this page. I already authorized it in the past, so it's not going to like do anything fancy. And then it's going to come up with, you probably have to authorize it, whatever. So just allow Netlify to hack your entire life. And then it's going to come up with a list of the repositories under your name. So of course, because my internet's being so slow, I don't know why it's doing this. I hope the recording isn't being messed up. But we can actually look up. I'm just gonna look up like holidays so that it shortens the search a little bit. Anyway, I guess it fixed itself. All right, so let's go ahead and find our repository. So let's go through this. And here, holidays NFTs. Let's click on that. Alrighty. Deploy main. You can keep all these the same, and then let's click on deploy site. And so once it does this, it's going to say starting up. We can, sort of look at its progress here, and it's going to do a bunch of cool stuff. It's going to start building, deploying, doing npm modules, the whole ordeal. And hopefully it should be able to deploy. So I'm going to sort of sit here with you guys while it's doing this. What we can do is we can even play some Flappy Bird. So let's go ahead and play some Flappy Bird while we wait. Of course, we got to make things somewhat interesting. So we're playing some Flappy Bird. Let's get to 10. Can I check the deploy while I play? Oh my God, I'm so good. Aw. Let's try it again. Let's see if I can check. Oh my God, I'm so good. I'm checking the deploy and playing. So I guess let's just keep playing. All right, let's get to 10, and then we'll come back. And if I don't get to 10, I'll just cut the video to when it's done. Oh my God. Yes. I made it. Let's go. All right. So it's still going. Okay, now it's building. Yay, it's building, it's building, it's building. All right. It's creating an optimized production build, and after this is done, I think it should be good to go, unless I forgot something, which is very possible, of course. With these types of videos, you'd be surprised, by the way. This hour-long video took about 3 hours between everything that I had to cut and get out, and And it's currently the day after Christmas. The grind never stops. So they say the grind set never stops. We're on our road to 1 billion subscribers. And millions of dollars, right? We're not stopping until we hit billions and millions and millions of dollars. Yeah. So you're all stuck with me until this finishes. Suffer together. That's the motto, right? So instead of cutting the video and letting you guys off the hook, we're going to watch this compile. Yeah. Yep. I don't even know why. It's funny. I made this video think, oh, great, it failed to compile. Okay, so I knew this would happen. Ugh. So it's because you have to set this to true. It's so annoying. In order to fix that, what you actually have to do is you have to go to deploy settings up there, and then you scroll down until you get to environment variables. Now, what you want to do is you want to type in CI as the key, and as the value, you want to type in false like that and click save. And so if we click save now and we go back, you can actually go to site overview, click on failed, and then go to retry deploy and click on deploy site. And it's going to retry to deploy it. And we'll be back when this is done. And it should be good to go after that. So I'll see you when we're back. All right, so we're back, and if we scroll all the way down, we will see that at the very bottom it says site is live. So our site is now live. We can go back, we can click this back button, and then boom, here's our app right here. So Wizardly Rosalind 99 whatever. And if we click this link, it'll take us to our application, right? And if we log in, we can log in with Blockdo. Let's do some quick logging in, confirm. We can view our NFT, right? The whole deal. So this is super awesome. And if we want to, you don't have to, but you can click on deploy settings. If you want to change the name of your app for some reason, I do this all the time. What you can do is click on, I think it's options. Yeah, so if you go to domain management, go to options and edit site name, you can change this to like Jacob's Christmas or Jacob's Holiday NFT DApp. I don't know. So click save. And then when you go to Jacob's Holiday NFT DApp, .netlify.app, there it is. So I hope this was fun. I don't know. This was just a fun video during the holidays in case you're bored and want to get coding, or you want to have your grandma mint an NFT. So if you want to, you can send your grandma Jacob's Holiday NFT DApp.netlify.app, and boom, she'll have mint and view holiday. She'll have her own TestNet NFT. Pretty cool stuff. Or you can follow the process and make your own and add some cool stuff to it. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Happy holidays. Seriously, I love you all. Thank you so much for a great year. I started this YouTube channel, I think, like in early October, It's now nearing end of December, so 3 months, and I'm now at like over like I think 120 subscribers. So seriously, I love this. I love teaching all of you. You've all been so kind to me, and leave a comment or in the description, or leave a comment on the video if you enjoy this. So, to new beginnings and new years. I'll see you next year. Have a great one, everybody.